How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Devin the Bear. To get right into it, me and Zach were able to attend our first live event together as we started the podcast. And so we had been to some before, but this is one that we finally got to see. Was Fury46. Lots of great fights. Very exciting, cool atmosphere just to be in there hanging out with those guys. To start off, we saw Alec Williams
tapped out Alex Black with a rear naked choke, which he is 6-2 now. 5 of those wins, including on Alex Black, are by rear naked choke. Yeah. So maybe he's got a move that he likes to go for.
He's got something going for him, right?
Yeah. But it was definitely really cool being there. Sucks to see Alex Black lose. Cool to see Alec Williams looking really good. Other fighters that kind of do something like that, you got Michael Chiesa. He was known for his rear naked choke for a long time.
Yep. Kevin Lee, at one point, was known for his rear naked choke.
Yeah, so not a bad thing. But it was definitely cool to be there at Fury46 at the Houston Bayou Event Center. A lot of Houston coaches and Houston fighters were in attendance. It was really cool to see them. A lot of the Metro crowd was there. Metro Fight Club crowd, they were there. They had a lot of guys fight on the prelims. They had Colton England, he won by decision. They had Michael Aswell, he won his fight. But moving forward with it, you had the Juan Adams and Jeremy Hardy fight.
It's one of his first fights since he's gotten out of the UFC.
Yeah.
And this is also, they were filming a Looking for the Fight episode. You know, they had Dean Thomas, Matt Serra, Dana White was there, Derek Lewis was there, and so has Benil Dariush. Super cool to see those guys there, though. And so this is Juan Adams' first fight since he was released from the UFC.
And it was right in front of Dana.
Yeah, right in front of Dana, and he went out there and he just beat up on Jeremy Hardy, which we didn't really know how it was gonna go. Going into that, Jeremy Hardy's he's a good fighter, and he's
very
just
big, very strong, very aggressive.
He's lean.
Like we had said, he's a lot like Greg Hardy. So it was going to be kind of a big test for Juan Adams, especially in front of Dana, to show that maybe he shouldn't have been cut. Maybe.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Hardy did tear his ACL in that fight, but Juan Adams jumped on it and he beat him up for it. He beat him up on it.
Yeah.
So good fight by Juan Adams. Good job recognizing that now's the time to do it in the fight.
Yeah.
He got the win, and then we had Jacob Silva fight Rashad Robinson.
Yep.
It was a hell of a fight for Jacob Silva. First round was all stand-up, had a couple wheel kicks, had lots of punches, lots of heavy strikes by both fighters. Both of them looked really good, but obviously Jacob Silva looked much better on the stand-up.
Yeah, for sure.
Just faster. He did take a couple shots in that first round, but the way they ended it, Jacob's winning this fight.
Yeah.
He dropped him right before the bell rang.
I thought he was out.
I did too.
Yeah, I was like, whenever the ref stepped in, I guess it was more just to stop the fight, be like, go to your corners.
Yeah.
And when Rashad got up, he just got up really, really slow. It's like, man, he's got to recover fast if he's gonna go in there, because Jacob Silva is a fucking animal, dude.
Little animal.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's fast, he's powerful. I mean, he's able to do all these things well. I mean, you go to the ground with the guy's gonna submit you. He's gonna go for something.
And that's what I was saying. In the first round, it did go to the ground for a little bit, but Rashad was able to get back up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I was like, if this goes to the ground, that's Jacob's fight right there.
Which, from the fights I had seen of Rashad Robinson, he did look better. His footwork looked a little better. He was throwing better punches than I expected.
He was very loose, looking very relaxed.
He looked a lot more comfortable. I think probably some of the fights I had seen of him, it was probably earlier in his career. Yeah. And so he looked good, but Jacob Silva was out there to prove a point.
The first round was all striking. The second round was all grappling.
Yeah.
There was a lot of striking that did happen. Rashad Robbins actually caught him with an elbow.
Yeah.
Opened up Jacob Silva right over his eyebrow. The second Rashad Evans, I keep wanting to call him Rashad Evans. Rashad Robinson, he slipped and Jacob was all over it. He got the back mount real fast. The transition was real fast.
Yeah.
And the second he slapped on the rear naked, it was like, okay, that's it. And then he got the tap pretty quickly.
Whenever Rashad went to the ground, and what was crazy about that elbow too is you saw Jacob just eat that shit, and he just you saw him just kind of focus in more, and it seemed like it almost just woke him up. If anything, he's already focused going in, but the second that elbow landed, it just seemed like he was just in the zone. It was like, okay, I see what you're doing now. And then after, he just went for the kill. I mean, the fight wasn't stopped much longer after, but He dropped Rashad again, and when Rashad went to the ground, I mean, if the ref would have stopped it right there, it probably would have been a little early. But I mean, he just flattened out when he went to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and after that, Jacob just went in for the kill, got that back real quick, got that choking tight, and that was the end of that fight. But it was just a great performance. The
way he took the back and reminded me when Brock Lesnar was transitioning around Randy Couture.
Yeah.
It was just so fast. It was really cool. The one fight that we were really excited about that got canceled was Josh Altum. Raleigh pulled out of the fight, and then he did have a last-minute replacement, but it didn't come through. It was supposed to happen after the main card, but it didn't happen. Josh Altum didn't get to fight, so no super glue. That's pretty unfortunate. I was really excited to see him fight. And then we had Cameron Graves and Padilla fight. Fernando Padilla, and Padilla put it on him and won the belt.
Yeah.
He put it on him the whole fight. Did it make it to the second round?
It made it to, it was like early second round when the fight got stopped.
And he started throwing punches and knees, and just his length was just way too much for Cameron Graves.
And it's weird because you see the way that Fernando stands, he stands very tight, but he fights long. And so it's just, so when he's hitting him with these punches, he's just getting him good every single time. Like he was landing nice. For him to cover that distance and throw those elbows in from the distance he was at, it was like, man, like he can just telegraph like, okay, if I step in this much, I can land that shot. And it was just his fight that entire, from the second that bell rang until the fight got stopped. It was his fight. So he's the new Fury middleweight champion as well. And that all happened. And I mean, he put on a great performance in front of the people you want to do in front of, you know.
Yeah.
And he talked about that he had fought in front of Dana White before. And he did say, he's like, it was a while back. You know, I was a kid whenever I fought in front of him.
He was a grown man.
He's like, now he's a man. He picked his britches up and got to work, you know. So it was definitely great to see that happen. Then another guy that I was super excited for, because I had seen him, his last fight was Mondo Martinez, and he took on Johnson. I'm kind of blanking on his first name, but
Jose Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. And he took on Jose Johnson. But Mondo Martinez is a guy, I mean, if you want to keep up with regional guys that are going to be something, that guy is going to be something big in the UFC.
Mondo?
Yeah.
Well, he's not regional anymore.
No, he's not.
Now he got signed to the UFC that night.
Yeah.
So really cool for him. Very excited for him. He's definitely going to be fun to watch. I'm very curious to see what happens when he fights a high-level grappler who can get out of the way of those shots.
Yeah.
He's one of the Metro Fight Club guys, so you know he's good. You know he's taken care of in all aspects of the fight. But I
remember
you
watching,
do want to see him get tested just to know what kind of stuff he can do.
And I'm sure he has great ground game. I mean, Adrian Yanez has really good ground. He just doesn't ever see because he's always knocking these guys out. Jacob
Silva.
It's
the same thing with Mono, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the exact same thing. And with Jacob Silva, he has great jiu-jitsu. You just don't ever. I mean, we saw it, but most of these fights that he gets in, he's ready for these wars. All these guys have great stand-up. When it goes to the ground, they're ready for it. But Mana knocked out Jose Johnson in about 30 seconds.
Yeah,
it was really fast. Just hit a nice check left hook right on the chin, and he folded him, winning for the kill. I mean, you can't ask for a better performance like that. You know, I mean, I think it's a little better than Fernando's in that sense. I know I just said that, but I mean, you want to get in and get out and be like, see, this is what I'm doing to these guys. Imagine what I do to your fighters, you know. And I think Mono's gonna make a big splash whenever he debuts in the UFC. I mean, he can debut soon, honestly, because he didn't really take any damage in that fight. Well, I remember watching him walk to the ring though. It's like, how do you make 135? Like
he's a big dude.
He is a big guy for 135. But if he's able to do it, man, he's young, 25. So he's definitely gonna have a lot to prove. But I mean, at the same time, I think he's gonna be able to prove it though.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I'm very happy for him. I think he definitely earned it with that fight. I hope Jacob gets a message his way from Dana, because I think he's earned it.
Yeah.
He's got some losses. This is his first win. But you got to think, with a guy who's shown that he can do it all.
Yeah.
He's gonna earn it at one point.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna earn it for sure. Considering that those two losses, even then, were on the Contender Series. Two of those three losses were on the Contender Series, and even still, Dana White was still impressed with them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he also had a great war with CJ Vergara. That was a really fun fight to watch. Both those guys.
CJ Vergara is very athletic, very fast, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a big guy too, and he's just a stocky guy. Stocky. He's very stocky and
thick boy.
Yeah, he is. He's thick with two C's, bro. Like, he comes in and he don't play no shit, and he he actually he's gonna be fighting on the Contender Series in September.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be exciting to see what CJ does as well. But I'm sure Jacob's up next. I mean, you can't deny him at some point. I mean, look what he's doing to these guys you're putting him up against. So
yeah, with the main event, we had Anthony Ivy fight Nikolai Veretennikov for the title, and Veretennikov went and put it on him. And got the finish. Yeah, really quick.
And it was good. It was funny. I told Zach, I was like, every time I see a last name like that, I always think that Nikolai was going to be a wrestler. But right off the bat, I mean, Anthony was going for that takedown, and it's like, and he wasn't getting it. He was getting stuffed every single time, and it's like, man, like, what's he gonna do? Anthony Ivy fought in the UFC. That's why his name probably sounds familiar to everybody as well. And but yeah, Nikolai he put it on him quick. I mean, he hit him with leading up to it. He was just stuffing those takedowns, landing the better shots. Then he lands this nice knee right on the pretty much right on right under the chin, more on the throat.
It was rough.
It was a really tough knee. I'm sure I definitely could not have taken a knee like that to the throat. I'd be freaking out. Like, fuck, dude, that's how I breathe. Like, but I mean, Anthony just he crumbled right after. He didn't crumble. He tried to keep his composure. And he got hit with another knee right to the face, and then after that, that's what dropped him. And then Nikolai went in for the kill on that one. But just a lot of really fun fights, man. I mean, you always want to see.
There's only a couple decisions, and they were exciting fights.
Yeah. They got the boom box.
Yeah. So, but it was really cool. It was really cool getting to see everybody there. It was very cool seeing Dana and Matt Serra and Derek Lewis and Benil Dariush and a couple other fighters who stuck around after Saturday. Moving on to the results of UFC 262. Had a lot of crazy fights happen there too. A lot of crazy finishes. You had Andrea Lee. She tapped out Antonina Shevchenko.
Yep, triangle armbar.
Man, was I wrong? I was like, I think Antonina takes her down, gets the win. No, Andrea Lee, you take her down. She puts you in a triangle, gets you a triangle armbar. Yeah, and she cranked that arm. Yeah, it was rough.
It was rough, man. And
she's coached by Jim West, so. They know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, they're doing something. They're doing something right.
Able to do that to Shevchenko.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot about it. It's funny because every time I've seen somebody fight, last person that beat Shevchenko, I think went on to fight the other sister. And yeah, I think it was Caitlyn Chicagan, just beat Antonino. Then went on to fight Valentina right after. And so, what's it called? I mean, it might be say something about Andrea Lee. I mean, Shevchenko, Valentina's probably like, you just beat up my sister. I must end you. Like, I must break you. So, it was a good fight, though. I mean, definitely, I know for sure Andrea Lee had to be the underdog going into that one. It's the second people see that last name, they're like, whoever Shevchenko is fighting is going to lose, So, good to see that. Then another fun fight, Lando Venado had a decision win over Mike Grundy. It was just Lando Venado doing what he does best, proving that he can just keep this high pace nonstop, just going and going. Like Mike Grundy was, he's more of a grappler. He had a classic striker versus grappler match, but with the way that Mike Grundy was setting up those takedowns, they were very obvious. It was
like I had said in the last one. It's very old school, so it's something that everyone's used to seeing now. So when you do that, you kind of telegraph it, and people know what to do. That being said, he's still a very high level wrestler, so it works for him. He can get the takedowns that way. But against someone like Lando Venata, he has great takedown defense. That's why he knows he can stand up and strike the way that he does. So you got to start trying to disguise a little bit more. You got to start working in the strikes, setting up the takedowns. You can't just go for him like that.
Yeah, and then so Lando Venata's always an exciting fighter to watch. Even if his fights go to decision, I have so much fun watching him fight, dude. But he's all game. And then you had another lost limb in this one with Andre Muniz defeating Jacques Souza by armbar in the first round. A very nasty arm break.
The arm.
Yeah.
You can hear it too. Yeah. It's loud.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Snap that thing, dude. You saw the elbow poking out and everything. And I was like, Jesus, man. He was looking for blood. But, man, I think Muniz was definitely the underdog going in that fight. But, I mean, everyone likes Jacques Souza if you keep up with the sport. But Jacques is just, he's a fun, lovable guy. He's easygoing, but when he fights, though, man, he's a scary, scary guy.
This was the first time that anyone's ever submitted Jacques.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And for a dude who comes from Brazil and for a dude who does almost nothing but grappling coming up, And it is the first time he's been submitted in his pro MMA career.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which for me, going into this fight though, I kind of thought Jacques was gonna like not really just have the grappling advantage. You know, I felt like the grappling was gonna there. Like both these guys are great grapplers, but I thought Jacques was gonna want to keep the fight standing.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I feel like he's probably gonna have the stand up advantage in this fight.
Yeah.
And he, I mean, when it got to the ground, but Muniz was just all over that arm. The second it got snapped in, it was just like he saw it, he got a hold of it from guard, and then whenever they were trying to roll a little bit, Muniz just did not let go of it, and then found his way with it. But I mean, it's one of those hard things. You don't like see these guys that get hurt. These injuries are tough, man. It's gonna keep them out for a while. And Jacques is not a young guy, so. But good for Andraj Muniz. I mean, it was definitely a fun fight, knowing that guy was just like, hey, man, if I got to fucking take limbs home with me, I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to get this win. So I think it's going to boost up his stock a lot. Says a lot about him. I'm really excited to see what he does next. And my thing is, though, is I want to see him get tested against a striker, you know, somebody who can defend that jiu-jitsu and somebody that can keep up with that pace as well. Because, I mean, Muniz is I think he has like over 10 submission wins. Yeah. So... yeah, it's definitely going to be something interesting.
So the next fight would have been the first fight on the main card. It was Matt Schnell. And actually, that is not it. It was the Edson Barbosa and Shane Burgos was the first fight.
Yeah.
And that one was kind of a weird one, something you're not used to seeing. It was a pretty good fight, pretty back and forth. And then Edson caught him with the right hand. And you see Shane Burgos get hit by it, and he gets stunned for like a second, and then he puts his face back on and he starts going, and then he starts kind of tripping backwards, and he just falls over.
He realized
smashes into the cage and then falls over. So just a really delayed knockout reaction from his body.
Yeah.
But just the power that Edson Barbosa has, landed it right in the face, right on the temple.
Yeah, it was
Which is not on the face. I understand that. I don't know why I said that.
But yeah, right on the temple. I mean, it's a part of the face. What's it called? So it was. I mean, Barbosa was really winning that fight, though. Barbosa was what's it called? Barbosa was getting the better shots in the fight. I like Shane Burgos. I thought Shane Burgos would have been a little more active with him, but he's one of those guys where it's almost like you're too tough for your own good. You know, it's like you're taking a lot of damage and he's landing good shots, but Barbosa just was a step ahead of him. He was finally finding his footing at 145 as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely cool to see that. But yeah, I think when he landed that shot, everyone was freaking out about it, and I was just like, it's just his body gave up on him, guys. It's totally normal. And then you think about it some more. It's like, okay, you know what? No, that's not very normal. It's not very
like when you see it with body shots, because your body has to take a minute to process it.
Yeah.
With the knockout though, when you so what's happening is your equilibrium's being thrown off, or your brainstem's being like shaken for a second. So it's weird for it to not be darn near instantaneous.
Yeah.
So with it being that delayed, it was just so weird to see. I thought, oh, well, you know, he must have like broken an orbital. He's falling back. He feels it all of a sudden, but then he like hits the cage real hard and just falls over and is out. I was like,
passes
whoa,
out.
What the heck? It was really weird. But really cool to see Edson Barbosa keep getting the wins.
Yeah. For sure.
The next fight was Caitlyn Chicagan beating Vivian Orrajo by decision. I feel like I saw that one coming. Caitlyn's just very, very good. And when she fights people like Vivian, she's going to... That's what you expect to see.
Yeah.
When she fights tough fighters, but she's higher ranked for a reason, that's what you expect to see. A good fight, but one where the higher ranked person comes out on top.
Yeah, and so Caitlyn Chicagan just showed kind of why she is where she at, why she fought for the title. I like Vivian. I mean, I think she's a good fighter. I really do, and I think that she's just she's when she fights and she does stuff like that. Like, I mean, whenever she wins, she just shows why she's a very prominent force in the women's flyweight division. But Chukagian just keeps proving that, hey, I lost to Shevchenko, but who doesn't lose to Shevchenko?
Yeah.
You know, and so she's,
it's one of those losses that just doesn't count against you.
And I know she lost to Jessica Andraj by a body shot, but I mean, if you see Andraj, she's got 24-inch pythons on her ass. Like, she's she's stocky, dude. Like, I mean, shit. I don't blame her. I'd probably throw up if she punched me. But Like I like Caitlyn Chicagan. She moves well. I mean, she anywhere the fight goes, she's comfortable with if she wants to stand up. But she just seemed to be a step ahead of everything Vivian was throwing at her. You know, it's just anything that was where the fight went, she just could cut off the cage. Like she could do certain things. She could, if it went to the ground, she could handle it there, and just a good fight. I'm wondering what's gonna be next for Caitlyn Chicagan though. If she picks up enough wins to be back in the title contention, or what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Against someone like Valentina, I would hope that she wants to take a little bit more time, maybe take another fight.
Yeah.
Just because if you rush in there and fight at Valentina, you're not really making enough adjustments.
Yeah.
You got to make more adjustments for someone like that. You have to give yourself time to rebuild as a fighter. Because if you go in there with the same tools, you're not going to win. Look at Francis Ngannou, the way he fought Stipe. That first fight, he looked good, but it just didn't go his way because he was sitting there trying to get the heavy-handed knockout.
Yeah.
And you look at the second fight, he looked a lot better. He was ready for the grappling.
Yeah.
He was ready to get hit. He got caught, and then he stayed ready.
Yeah.
So he wasn't sitting there chasing. He stayed ready. So I think that's what won him the fight. And I think if you want to go in there and fight Valentina after already losing to her, you have to change things up. Otherwise, she's just going to go out there and be like, okay, well, I know this is what you do, and you haven't changed, so I'm just going to do it again.
Yeah,
but now it's going to be faster.
Because one of Valentina's wins by TKO in the crucifix was against Caitlyn Chicagan.
Yeah.
And I want to say that fight was in Houston. I think it might have been. I have a feeling. I don't know. I'll look into it. But I remember because there was a fight that Valentina had in Houston that was a big deal because she travels around here a lot training and stuff. So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's gonna have to change something because you have to have something to be like, fuck, like yeah, she's definitely came back from a lot, and to prove that she can hang with somebody like Shevchenko, because Shevchenko is just consistently getting better.
And look at Valentina's fight against Jessica Andraj. She knew what to expect, and so she went in there and was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna grapple you then. Yeah. I know you're gonna come in here and try to grapple with me, so I'm gonna do it. And
that's one of my favorite things about fighters. Whenever they're like, no, I'm gonna beat you what you're good at. It's like once I beat you what you're good at, what do you have left? You're gonna go into what I'm good at. Like who else has gotten really good at? Like Kamaru Usman's gotten really good at it. Yeah. I mean, he'll fight guys and he'll stand up with them, and then after that, it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna wrestle with them? No. Yeah.
So moving to the next fight, we had Hosurio Bonterine fight Matt Schnell, and it was a really good fight. The first round went to Matt Schnell. The second round is where Bonterine kind of stepped it up towards the end. Yeah,
he landed a really good shot in the second round.
And then the third round was, I wish it was a little bit more back and forth. It started off pretty back and forth, but then Matt Schnell got taken down and just kind of got pounded, and that was kind of hit. Yeah. And Bonterine got the win. Yeah,
I mean, that's what I remember. I had to step away real quick, and I came back, and I was like, wait, I thought Matt Schnell was winning that fight. Yeah, no. And you were like, no, I completely changed. I don't know what happened. He's like, Bonterine just woke up and just put it on Matt Schnell. I like Matt Schnell a lot. Yeah. I remember just like cool sitting there just laughing because I remember watching this dude on MTV Caged and stuff, and it's like but Bonterine, he just came in ready. I thought Matt Schnell would have done something about trying to get a submission win. I felt like that would have been his best bet. But Bonterine, I mean, he only had 3 losses going into this: 1 knockout, 1 submission, and 1 decision. So
and that's against Ray Borg and Kai Kara France. Yeah. Those guys are good.
Yeah. What's his name?
So it's not a knock on Bonterine.
Kai Kara France's nickname is Lights Out for a reason, and he knocked him out, which is so funny to think about that because that was Kai Kara France's only finish since he's been in the UFC. Yeah. And he's like, I had to finally live up to my nickname, man. I don't know.
Well, it's like Chris Lights Out Lytle. Yeah. He's got a lot of knockouts. Yeah. But it got to a point where a lot of his fights were going to decision. They were crazy fights. Yeah. But they were going to decision. His fight against Marcus Davis was really good. He had that fight against Dan Hardy. That was a really good one.
That was his retirement fight.
That was a retirement fight, and he looked real good in that. But they're really, really exciting fights, but they did go to decision with the name Lights Out.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just say when I saw Matt Schnell winning, I thought he was keeping a good pace. He was landing the better shots, great footwork, but once he got hit hard, it kind of seemed like Bonterine just took over after that, and it just Matt Schnell didn't ever find his footing again. So it was definitely Bonterine's fight that night, but I think we'll be seeing both of them again really soon, though.
Yeah, I think so. They're both fresh. They're gonna come in and keep getting wins. But for Bonterine and Matt Schnell's gonna come back, I think, better. The next fight's gonna be Tony Ferguson and Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, the co-main.
Dariush just controlled that fight from start to finish.
Yeah.
Tony had never had a chance.
Everywhere it went, Beneil Dariush has looked good. He's been on this resurgence. I mean, I'm happy to see him on it. I think he's an all-around good person. I think he's kind of going off the rails with his post-fight interview. It was like, where's this coming from? But he just said it. He let it out.
I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't expecting it to get political or religious, but it did. And like, oh, okay, man.
And
sure.
But yeah, he just he pulled off a good fight. And Tony Ferguson just, I don't know, he looked like a shell of himself. He got beat up. I mean, he wasn't really getting beat up the whole fight. I mean, there was that in the first round, he was going for a triangle attempt, and it's like, and Dariush was able to defend that, able to hold that off. And one of the things is just like, once you go to the ground, that's Dariush's, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, and when you're a 10th planet jiu-jitsu guy, and you're on your back, you're kind of expected to pull off a submission.
Yeah.
And Tony Ferguson couldn't do it.
Yeah, Dariush just shut down everything that he's trying to do. I think, I don't know, Tony Ferguson kind of came in with a really shit attitude to Dariush for no reason. He was talking a lot of shit, and it's like, man.
He always does, though. But
not like that. Like, it was just like, man, you're being, I don't know, I guess it's just how Tony Ferguson is. I just never noticed it because I wasn't a fan of him. But, yeah, even after the fight, he was talking shit to Beneil Dariush, and it's just like, hey, man, just take the loss, learn from it, live from it, do what you got to do, you know?
Yeah.
And so, it's just, there's nothing else to say about it. Dariush pulled off that. I didn't like what Dana White had to say after the fight, though, saying, oh, well, if you want to break the top 5, you have to have more exciting fights than that. And it's just
as if rankings were built on who's exciting and who's not.
Look at John Fitch. You know, well, not a very exciting guy, but he was top ranked in the UFC for a very long time. And so, because he could implement that game plan, and so he could go in there and he could fucking, grind these guys out. But yeah, I mean, it is what it's hard to be exciting whenever you're beating up I get them confused, but against Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson wants that. He wants a dogfight, and that's what the second you start doing that, it's like, man, that's where he's happy at. When he gets hit, he's like, okay, cool.
Look, Tony Ferguson is an exciting fighter, right? Yeah. That's what Dana wants, right?
Yeah.
Well, he lost.
Yeah.
And I think he hasn't lost since he fought Gaethje. He's what, 0-3 now?
He's 0-3. Lost to Gaethje, Oliveira, and now Beneil Dariush.
He's 0-3 now. So your exciting fighters are losing.
Yeah.
While the dominant fighters are winning.
Yeah. It's bound to happen.
But rankings aren't based on
excitement.
Who's the exciting fighter? Rankings are based on who's the better fighter.
Yeah, if you feel that way, maybe pay him a little more. But it's just like,
no. Shout out to Tony Ferguson though. Got everybody paid like $25,000 more.
Yeah, $75,000 bonus.
That Dana White privilege,
dude. That was fucking great. Like,
that's hilarious.
And that's what what's it called? They asked Dana White about that after
he said that was the best line he's ever heard. Yeah, and second place goes to Dana. It's good to be white.
Yeah, by Rampage Jackson. I was like, hell yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, Beneil's had some very exciting fights before that. And it's like to say that he wasn't exciting in this one fight. I mean, look what he did to Steve Holtzman. Look what he did to Jacques Close. You know, I mean, he knocked
him out.
Yeah, he knocked both those guys out. One of those was spinning back fists. And that fight with Jacques Close was crazy, dude. Jacques had him hurt, and he came back and knocked that dude's mouthpiece out. And then who did he just beat? He beat Diego Ferreira also. And I mean, it's just one of those things where sometimes it's hard to have exciting fights against guys who are as good as Tony Ferguson.
It's the same thing. You have the same problem with Woodley.
Yeah.
But what do you want Woodley to do? He's a champion. He's beaten everybody.
Yeah. Like his fight with Damian Maia, was it a boring fight? 100% it was. But you know what? He won. What's he supposed to do against somebody like Damian Maia?
Yeah. It's like Anderson Silva didn't want to go to the ground with Damian Maia. That being said, though, Anderson Silva, you're no slouch on the ground either, man.
Yeah.
Go over there, man.
And it's like,
you know you can.
Well, it's a black belt from the Nogueira brothers. I mean, I'm just kidding. But
well, who did he get in that triangle and started elbowing in the head?
Travis Lutter.
Travis Lutter.
Yeah.
Amazing grappler.
Yeah.
So Anderson Silva knows what he's doing on the ground.
Yeah.
So I always had an issue with him not wanting to go to the ground with Damian Maia.
I mean,
if
you
can do it too, man. We know you can. You're so good. Go out there and beat him.
And if it's that boring of a fight, why didn't the refs stand him up? You know?
True. Well, I feel like refs don't stand fighters up like they used to.
Yeah.
I think the game has changed to the point where refs expect more to be going on the ground.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. There was times where it's like when we watched the De Lima versus Green fight. Like I felt like that fight should have been
stood up a lot, but it never did.
Yeah.
But again, I guess it's because it's a chess match. Like but just because some guy's working for a better foot position on the other guy doesn't mean there's really any work going on.
Yeah, some of those jiu-jitsu matches go up to 20 minutes because of stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is a chess match, but
it is. But if it's a chess match to see who can get something that really has no relevance, because look at those guys, De Lima and Green.
Yeah,
it didn't matter where their feet were; they were trying to punch each other. They were De Lima was trying to punch Green, so you saw Green get into half guard and then lay there.
Yeah.
De Lima wasn't trying to get in better position. He was trying to punch Green's face in. You stand that fight up. Dariush was doing work on Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson was trying to do work off his back. So that one didn't need to be stood up, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I know Tony Ferguson did post after. It was like a clip from a video game, from like an 80s video game. It said, retire or give up. And so he's probably stuck between that. But yeah, I mean, he's probably stuck with it. I mean, like now it's like,
bro, what you have nothing to prove.
Yeah, I think when he had a chance for the title, he decided to give it up by fighting Justin Gaethje. And it's like, I mean, that's a whole different situation with that though, with Khabib going back to Dagestan. But yeah, okay. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't see Tony Ferguson really fighting for the title again after that.
No, definitely not.
Especially after he lost to Charles Oliveira. I was like, he's never going to be in title contention.
He's going to have to fight again. Charles Oliveira, and Charles Oliveira is a better Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
At this point, he's a better Tony Ferguson. So let's just be real. Tony Ferguson's not going to get the title shot.
Yeah, but Neil Dariush is knocking on that door.
Even if he comes back and starts winning some, I think he's going to have to win some really... he's going to have to make a statement, and it's going to have to be a few fights in a row that he wins. Yeah,
he's going to have to prove that, okay, it was just a downslope. But you got Benil Dariush, now that he's probably going to be breaking top 5, if Dana White doesn't want to be a douchebag about it, you have Benil Dariush. I mean, that opens up a lot of doors for a lot of good fights, him versus Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, that'd be a really fun one. Where's Gaethje at right now in the rankings?
I want to say he's number 3.
I'd have to look in. I'm looking into that right now.
But yeah, I mean,
that would be a really good fight.
Yeah.
The way that lightweight is now that Oliveira is a champion, you have to. I saw Ariel Helwani said that you gotta, if Dustin wins his fight against Conor, obviously he's the one to fight Charles Oliveira. But then he said, and even if Conor wins that fight, he's the obvious number 1 contender. What in the hell makes him the obvious number 1 contender?
Well, he beat the guy
who keeps losing fights and then hanging out for a year and then loses a fight and then hangs out for a year. Like that. Why does he get a number 1 title shot?
I think if he beats Dustin Poirier, he deserves a title shot.
I don't think it means it's the same thing with Michael Chandler.
Yeah. We saw that.
I don't think just you, like I was saying with Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards too, you beat one guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're ready for a title shot. It means you were ready. You were ready that night for the title shot.
I think if he does beat,
which is awesome, but that doesn't translate into the next day.
I definitely feel like if he used to beat the guy who's arguably who should have been champion, then it's like, you know what, we get it, because I feel like that fight makes sense for whoever who wins out of Conor versus Dustin 3. It deserves a title shot.
I don't think so. I think Dustin deserves a title shot.
Yeah,
Conor would have to fight Gaethje, or he'd have to fight Dariush. And if he beats them, okay, it's Conor McGregor. Give him a title shot if he beats them. After beating Poirier.
I really feel like if he beats Dustin Poirier, because it's like that guy is the next guy to fight for the title. Who's that, Dustin Poirier?
Why? I'm just saying, why would you give a guy who consistently was losing, came back and won one fight after what, 6, like, not 6, let's be real. He beat Diaz, and then he lost to Khabib, and then he lost to Poirier.
Right.
In the span of about 4 years.
Right.
When you had Dariush, who's winning.
Right.
Why would you give him a title shot over Dariush? That doesn't make sense to me. You had Gaethje, who has been winning his fights since he lost to Khabib.
Yeah.
Why would you not give him the title shot? Why would you give it to Conor over him? These people who are actively working and winning.
Right.
Why would you give it to Conor over them just because he beat Dustin? I do understand what you mean by Dustin's the number 1 contender. If you beat the number 1 contender, obviously that puts you in line for that.
Yeah.
But I don't. It just doesn't make sense to me rankings wise.
Right.
Oliveira is the champion. You work your way down. You just had Chandler lose. That pushes him further out. I think that might push him out of the top 5.
Yeah, because he definitely is going to need a couple fights before he fights for that belt again.
So you have Dustin Poirier, who going to fight Conor. Conor beats him in this situation, but then you have Dariush, who's got to be in the top 5 now.
Yeah.
You have Justin Gaethje, who's still going to be in the top 5. I think, first off, I think both of those guys deserve a title shot over Conor in any situation right now. But you also have guys who are going to be moving up. You have, I just said his name, and I can't even think of his name. Michael Chiesa.
Yeah.
Michael Chiesa at welterweight. I don't know why I'm bringing him up. I'm blanking on the right person, and I really wish that I hadn't even started this talk, because now I can't freaking think of the guy's name. Anyway, Dariush and Gaethje, I think that's the only evidence I need for my point. I don't think Conor deserves it over those two, even if he beats Dustin.
Well, even with Justin Gaethje, it'd be hard to be like, hey, you're fighting Charles Oliveira next, because his last fight was against Khabib for the lightweight title. I mean, he's coming off of a loss, you know?
Like I said, I think Dariush has earned it. Yeah. Oliveira having not fought Conor or Dariush. He hasn't fought Dariush, hasn't he? Has he?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head.
So say he had. I think that's even more exciting, because now it's 2 completely different fighters from when they would have fought before.
Right.
So they're both on huge winning streaks. So I think that makes for a better fight anyway. So I think if Conor beats Dustin, I don't see a reason why he should get a title shot, other than the fact, he's Conor McGregor. That's the only reason he gets a title shot.
Right.
And again, I understand if he beats Dustin, he's Dustin's number 1 contender. If you beat him, obviously you're ready. But again, I think that just means that night you were ready.
Right.
Because the next day, how are you going to be feeling? With the way Conor fights, he's not going to be ready for another year to fight again. So you're telling me if he beats Dustin, we have to wait another year for him to fight Charles Oliveira and hope that he still looks good?
Yeah.
And then if he wins the title, he's just going to relinquish it. Yeah. He's not going to defend a title.
He's just there just for a point, be like, I beat all y'all and I got the belt. You know? But yeah, I mean, definitely with that. So real quick, because I think this will definitely keep that talk of the lightweight going. Let's get right into the main event. Charles Oliveira won by second round TKO.
I started talking about it before.
No, you're good. What's it called? I think this will definitely help kind of give more into that. Segue into this is just Charles Oliveira is the new UFC lightweight champion. He defeated Michael Chandler by second round TKO. Fun fight. It was a great fight.
It was. Chandler had him hurt in that first round.
Very hurt. At one point, I was like, I think he's out.
I thought he was out when his head was on the mat and his arms were out flat. I was like, oh, that's it. The rest can stop it. And he didn't. And he got up. I was like, oh, okay.
It feeds into the narrative that we were talking about last week, and we talked about even watching the fight is, you have a guy coming off 1 win by knockout, fighting for the title, versus you have a guy like Charles Oliveira who's been fighting a very, very long time.
11 years in the UFC.
Yeah, 11 years in the UFC.
11 years in the top level of the MMA game.
And, I mean, he's been on, I want to say it was a 9-fight win streak going into this fight.
Or did this make it 9, or was it 9? I don't remember, but 8 or 9 fight win streak is huge. Yeah,
so he's going into this fight. I think this was his 9th win, and goes in this fight, earned that title shot, beat up guys that nobody beats up. I mean, he completely. Kevin Lee. He finished Kevin Lee. He outboxed Kevin Lee, and it's just look what he did to Tony Ferguson. At one point, I was like, dude, I think he just broke his fucking arm.
Yeah.
And so the fight starts, and it was a fun fight from the start. It was very obvious what Chandler was trying to do, go in and throw those powerful strikes.
Yeah, he was throwing those hands real, I don't want to say wild, but a little bit.
There was a lot of hooks.
He had his hands real low,
yeah,
and he was just throwing these hooks out there real heavy. So you're right. It was definitely obvious what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So Oliveira picked and chose his shots, and he was in and out real quick.
Yeah.
Which is definitely the best way to handle someone coming at you like that.
Yeah.
So when the second round came in,
he
already knew what to expect.
Watching the fight, I was getting kind of frustrated because I like Michael Chandler a lot, and it was one of the discussions we had. It's just I feel like with his coach, with Henry Hooft, he kind of lets his fighters do that. He's very lenient with them. And it's like, man, you have to tell him pick his hands up. Like, he's fighting a guy that's a lot longer than him, going in there swinging like that. And the fight in the first round did go to the ground, and Michael Chandler did a good job of staying composed, not being overwhelmed by a guy like Charles Oliveira. What I like about Charles Oliveira too is his striking's there. He's proven that, but it's also that his his what's that? His jiu-jitsu style. He's a very aggressive jiu-jitsu fighter.
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore. You don't see guys just say, "I'm gonna get in your face and I'm gonna take you down and I'm gonna fuck your shit up and stuff." So
he is consistently taking people's back
Yeah.
while standing, and that's something that is hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's something that he does with ease.
And so, like, look how aggressive he was when he fought Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that guy, as soon as the fight started, he pressured the shit out of Tony Ferguson. Tony was, able to go in there and do that. He landed a couple good shots, but, I mean, the second he went to the ground, he was throwing Tony Ferguson around, dude. I remember in that fight, too, like, I think Tony tried to get his back, and he literally was on his knees and stands up and picks up Tony Ferguson from his knees, stands up, throws him on the ground. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy to see how far he's come as a fighter.
Yeah.
I remember his first fight in the UFC. He was just this tiny, scrawny, bouncy little kid.
20 years old, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, like, and all he did back then was submissions.
Yeah.
His main goal was get your back or get your arm.
Yeah.
But now he's knocking dudes out. Now he's striking with Michael Chandler and knocking him out.
Yeah.
How crazy is that for the lightweight champion?
And so, you saw after that, Michael Chandler hurt Charles bad, and he capitalized on it. He was pressuring him, landing good shots, but also one of the things I didn't get was Michael Chandler just went straight to the ground with him and was trying to punch him.
Yeah, you would
It's
think you got a guy hurt and you
him
know
space.
what this guy's background is.
Yeah.
You don't stay on the ground. You
Yeah.
get back up, you make the ref.
Because he wasn't
stand
landing
him
any
up.
shots on the ground. He landed a
Yeah.
couple shots, but nothing major. And it's like, man, you got to just do that. You just got to let him stand back up. He's wobbled. I mean, let's say if he gets up and he wobbles even just a little bit to where it's suspect enough, the ref's going to say, you know what, he can't continue. He can't stand up. He's too rocked. And the fight's over right there. So going into the second round, it was a quick start into the second round. It was 20 seconds in the second round. I think it stopped at 19 seconds. But exactly what we noticed from the start is Michael Chandler had his hands down. He throws a punch, and then Charles Oliveira evades it. Throws a really nice check left hook, picture perfect, right? Just such good technique, right on the chin, dude. Sends Michael Chandler on his butt, and Charles Oliveira rushed him. Charles Oliveira rushed him, went in there, knocked him out, and it was just a really nice barrage of punches he had by him. But it was just dirty to see, man. But good on Charles Oliveira to make that happen. It's just now it's wondering what's gonna happen next for that guy. I mean, for me, it's like watching him get hurt like that. I think about guys like Dustin Poirier who hit really hard, and it's like, okay, what's he gonna do against that? I think he beats Conor McGregor if Conor McGregor is to get the fight. I really do think he beats Conor McGregor. But
I do too, and that it was the same issue with the rematch with Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, what Conor McGregor are we gonna see this time?" Conor is Conor. That's all there is to it. Conor has changed over the course of his career, yes, but are we gonna act like every Conor we've seen is different?
Yeah,
because it's not. He has always been this way. He has always been a really great fighter anywhere the fight goes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see his fight against Khabib, that was Conor.
Yeah,
I think that was still peak Conor. Khabib's just that good.
Yeah.
When you see his fight against Dustin in the Dustin Poirier rematch, it's not that he was any less Conor. It was just that
Dustin Poirier is better than him.
Dustin Poirier is that good.
Yeah.
In this rematch, it'll be interesting to see because Conor has kind of said that he had to refocus, and he changed up his training a lot. So if he comes in and he is a more focused fighter, that's different. It's the same Conor, but it's still a little different. So you got to think maybe if he does win this one, him and Michael Chandler makes sense. I think.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a good fight to make. That solidifies Michael Chandler is a top guy for the UFC.
Yeah, I mean,
if he beats him,
even Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler, that's a fun fight.
Yeah, I think that is too. I think Justin Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush would be cool.
Yeah,
and then Michael Chandler versus Conor.
Then you got.
I don't want to see anything bad happen to Tony Ferguson, but I'd love to see Tony Ferguson and Dan Hooker fight.
That would be fun. I was thinking the same thing. Right?
I'd love to see that, but I don't want to see Tony Ferguson get hurt anymore.
Even before before this fight was booked, the Beneil Dariush, I remember we talked about that, and I said, I want to see Tony Ferguson fight Dan Hooker because I like Dan Hooker. I would really like to see him put his name back out there. I know that after that loss to Michael Chandler and all that.
Yeah, it sucks that he
him.
lost to Dustin and then lost to Chandler.
Yeah.
Because losing to Dustin, okay, Dustin's clearly ready to be champion. And then losing to Chandler, it's kind of like, crap.
Yeah.
You know, that's just unfortunate.
One of my favorite things was
not to take anything away from Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
That's just unfortunate.
Just a string of bad luck for
just went over
Dan
there
Hooker.
and put you down.
One of the things was like Tony Ferguson told Michael Chandler was like, you ducked me. But then after that, you know, you have Dan Hooker coming out and saying, you know, he's like, I was the only one who said yes to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm risking a lot fighting Michael Chandler. And so it's kind of like, I think the thing about Tony Ferguson was he wanted that fight against Michael Chandler on short notice. He's like, I'll fight him in
Michael
4
Chandler's
weeks.
been around the block. He knows that's not a good idea.
Yeah, he's not dumb. And so it's like no one wants to fight that dude on short notice. It's not, you know, Michael Chandler's fault that you stay, that guy stays ready, what's it called, 24/7, you know, all 365.
Stay ready.
And so maybe Tony Ferguson should maybe just relax a little bit, not be ready all the time. Maybe he looked like shit. I'm going to be honest. He looked rough, man. I mean...
I think we've just seen him age in the cage.
Yeah, we're seeing him age, but even like just the way his build is, it's like, man, maybe you should consider welterweight. Like maybe you need an easier weight cut.
He's too small for welterweight.
I think so too, but I mean, dude,
because then he would be fighting Michael Chiesa.
Yeah.
I think Michael Chiesa whoops Tony Ferguson.
100%.
Hey, they were on the Ultimate Fighter together, right?
No, season apart.
Oh, damn.
Or I think 2 apart, something like that. But because they both won their seasons.
Oh yeah, Tony Ferguson won. He beat Ramsey Nugent.
Yeah, and then what's his name? Michael Chiesa.
My brain.
You're good, man.
Hey guys, I work for a living. I you know.
It's a call.
My brain ain't all here.
Michael, what's that?
End of the day.
Michael Chiesa beats Ally Quinta. For
right.
He choked him out. What happened to Ally Quinta? I tried to find anything about him.
I don't think
recently.
he's fought since he lost to Khabib, right?
No, he's fought.
Yes?
He picked up a couple wins. I mean, he was looking good. Then he fought. What's his name? He fought Donald Cerrone, and then after that he fought Dan Hooker, and he hasn't fought since.
I don't know, man.
And so I like watching.
Maybe he's just finding his place in the gym, having a good time there with Matt Serra.
I think so too. He has a stable job. He's a real estate agent. You know?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I think there's that to think about too. Is like okay.
Nah.
And so I think there's that. You know, is like where does Ally Quinta fall? But I would like to see him come back. You know, I don't want to see him go any more up in the rankings. He's but he's just kind of there. I wonder what's gonna happen with Paul Felder. I've been wanting to see Paul Felder fight again recently.
Yeah, I think Paul Felder is definitely at a point where he's probably not looking for any title shots.
Yeah,
he's just trying to find fights that will get him money, give him
fun fights,
have him some fun,
yeah,
and then retire.
And so
I like Paul Felder a lot. I've always loved watching him fight. I like him as part of a broadcasting team.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope he stays there.
Yeah.
If he does fight, like I said, I'd like it to be against someone fun.
Yeah, because I don't think he'll be ever having a run for the title. But I think either way, though, he's just an exciting fighter. He's just all around good guy. I still laugh when I think about him and the Joshua Labia thing. So yeah, but that shit cracks me up, man. Like he's like, I don't even know who you are.
Have them fight.
Yeah.
If Fabio wants to be respected so bad, go in there and fight, man.
Yeah. Fight him.
Fight Paul Felder. That's they're probably about the same weight.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think Paul Felder's a lot bigger than him and weighs more than him. I think Paul Felder, he probably has to walk around like 180, dude.
Yeah, but he cuts weight.
Yeah, I know he cuts weight.
Doesn't fight at 180.
But I guarantee he comes into the fight, fucking dude. Like it's not gonna no. Like what are you gonna do? You're gonna like watch what Paul Felder eats to try to make it more even for.
Well, no, he's gonna be self-aware.
Yeah.
And he's gonna win the fight by self-awareness.
You're right. Yeah.
Paul Felder's gonna try to punch him. He's just gonna spin out of the way. We've seen him do it.
I'm gonna try that.
Spin. You're gonna push a punching bag and spin out of the way of it.
No, like in a real fight. Like I honestly, if I go against somebody, it's like I know that he's about to fuck me up, so I'm gonna
spin move.
I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Fucking self-awareness, and I'm just gonna roll with that punch and see how well it goes.
There, you can hang from the ceiling, and I'll punch your forehead.
Nah, dude, I don't want to do
I'll
that.
elbow you and kick you and take those shots.
If anybody hasn't seen that yet, go check that shit out, dude. Fucking Joshua Fabia training with Diego Sanchez.
Training.
Yeah. Fucking punch.
Hilarious.
Kick that dude in the head. Like he fucking kicked the shit out of him.
Is just hanging upside down with all the blood rushing to his head. and he just got his eyes closed, trying his best to just not
say ow, I
move.
guess.
I
Like,
don't know what the goal is.
He fucking
there.
punched the shit out of him, dude. Like in the entire time I'm watching that, I think I this is what, if you all go and check it out, go and like when you listen to it, close your eyes and tell me what that shit sounds like. Like, it's disgusting. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like with the lightweight picture, that's my favorite division. Honestly, it's so much fun. But I think this like it's always fun with cards like this because it kind of opens up the division more. You're gonna see
you have several fights in the same weight class.
Yeah.
But not just like a champion fight or a top contender fight.
Yeah.
And then someone who's maybe ranked 10 to 20. You have the top 5 guys fighting back to back.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. I feel like the lightweight rankings are a little weird right now because of everything going on.
It is really weird.
That's.
Remember when I looked at you that I had said too is like, I can't remember what fight exactly we were talking about. I was like, when I watch fights like these, it makes me think like it's no bullshit when Khabib said it's like I'm levels above these guys.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to be like, damn, well, of course, I'm always going to recognize that Charles Oliveira is the lightweight champ. But it's like,
we were talking about the Ferguson-Dariush fight because look at what Dariush did to him.
Yeah.
And the way that Khabib wrestles, he locks your legs up. So
that takes away
the triangle choke attempt that Ferguson had on Dariush, he wouldn't have been able to get on Khabib.
Yeah, I think.
And, I mean, we probably would have seen a different Tony Ferguson fight Khabib.
Yeah, you would have knocked him out.
What?
But
we would have seen a different Tony Ferguson fight Khabib, but I think the same result would have been there.
Yeah.
Khabib, it's hard to say when you're talking about what ifs,
Yeah. I think Khabib would have fucked him up. Honestly,
yeah.
It's a very abrupt way to put that. And
I mean,
you can't
not say it because look at what Khabib's done. Dude's freaking.
Look what he's doing to these guys.
29-0.
Yeah, and then you look at what Tony Ferguson's been doing against jiu-jitsu guys and wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, before that, he's on 12-fight win streak, and he's fucking these dudes up. I mean, these guys weren't looking the same after their fights. But then you see what Beneil and what Charles Oliveira's done, what Justin Gaethje's done. And it's like, I think Khabib would have definitely dominated every aspect of that fight.
Yeah.
Because even if they would have been standing up, at one point, Khabib is going to get close, and he's going to get that range. Tony Ferguson, he has a good chin, but it's been tested a lot, and you've seen him get hurt pretty often. Khabib does hit hard, even though he's much more known for his very aggressive style of wrestling, of sambo, excuse me. But, yeah, I mean, it's just definitely going to be that. But I think, especially once the Poirier versus McGregor fight happens, we're going to see the title picture clear up a little more.
Yeah. Because we'll have a more defined path of what's going to happen.
Which it's closer than we realize, man. It really is. It's sooner than we realize.
July.
It's July, and then it's middle of May right now. So
I really hope Dustin Poirier gets it. Dude deserves it. And if he fights, I think they released the odds for if Oliveira were to fight either Poirier or Conor, and he was not the favorite in either of those matchups.
Yeah.
I think for him and his style of fighting, I could see him being a favorite against Conor.
Yeah.
As far as what we've seen from Conor lately. Like I said, I know it's the same Conor, but it's not the same Oliveira. Oliveira has become such a great striker. And I think what makes him great is his timing with his punches. So if he were to sit there and strike with Conor, Conor's going to have to be the aggressor against Oliveira. Because the way that Oliveira works is he uses his timing to land the big, powerful shots. And Conor likes to do that. He likes to counter-strike. So when you have a guy who's using his timing and being in and out, you're really going to have to be the aggressor to win that fight. And we don't see that from Conor as often as it seems like, because Conor's such a big, brash person.
Yeah.
That when he's counter-striking, it looks like he's being the aggressor, but he's really not.
No.
Like when he fought Jose Aldo, it looked very aggressive from Conor, but it really wasn't. He sat back and he waited for the punch. As soon as Jose Aldo threw that right hand, he dropped him.
Yeah.
It was counter-striking. It was the same thing with Eddie Alvarez. As soon as Eddie Alvarez started setting up for a big combination, Conor was there to stop it and then throw out a combination of his own. the one time we saw him be very aggressive, I would say was against Cowboy. And that would be because he caught him early. So,
and that's how you have to fight Cowboy if you want to beat Cowboy.
And that's been shown at this point. So if Conor goes in there and is very aggressive, who knows what he's capable of. If he goes in there and he's very aggressive against Poirier, that's the kind of thing that Poirier wants.
Yeah.
So if you go in there and you're very aggressive with him, you have to hit him and you have to land. Because historically what we've seen with Poirier is his defense isn't always great. So when you're landing, like with Michael Johnson, he was landing and Poirier had his hands low.
Yeah.
Every time he'd go up for a combination, every time they'd start making an exchange, he had his hands low, which is kind of the opposite of what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if Conor wants to win that fight, I think he needs to stick to what he does best, and that's counter-striking. And he needs to not try to be the stronger fighter.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's stronger than Poirier.
I don't think he is either.
He's faster.
Yeah.
So be faster.
I mean, he's faster and he's more technical than Poirier. But the thing is, whenever you give into Poirier's fight, like he did the last time, like he gave into that. The thing is, Poirier has a gas tank on him. He'll take a good shot. And I think especially going into that that fight, the second fight, Poirier took his best shot. And he was just like, okay, nice clavicle.
Poirier had a lot of fun with that. And I think when he's having fun, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Because that's what he wants. Like he's even said, he fucking hates the media. He's like, I hate that shit, but I love the fight.
The only time Poirier has looked bad is when there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because he puts pressure on himself when that happens. But I think that Poirier as a person has grown to the point where he understands he can't do that, and he's not going to.
So I definitely think that's with Poirier. I'm very excited for that fight, but I think Poirier just knows that he has all the tools to win that fight again, and that's what it's kind of hard because I think whenever Poirier has his back against the wall, he performs a little better, But
and I think right now he's set to be the favorite for that fight. Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see what happens, but I think it's definitely gonna open up that whole aspect of the title picture. I mean, Beneil Dariush is now knocking on the title door. Last guy to beat Tony Ferguson is the current champ. Justin Gaethje hasn't had a fight in a while, and I mean, I know Justin Gaethje got a bunch of shit for saying I won't fight until there's an actual champion, until the real champion is there, which is, I mean, look, now there's a real champion, and I think he gives Charles Oliveira a lot of problems.
Yeah, he does.
But the thing is, too, though, is like, with Charles' aggressive jiu-jitsu style, I mean, he knows he can do it, and he has good striking, is look at what happened when Justin Gaethje fought against Khabib.
Yeah. Once you give up your back to Khabib, that's it. Once you give up your back to Oliveira, that's it.
Yeah.
You cannot give your back up to those people. And that's a problem with Dustin Poirier, too. He gave his back up pretty easily to Khabib.
Multiple rounds he was giving his back up.
So you can't do that with guys like Oliveira. So your best bet is to stay and strike with him. But he's shown that his striking is just so quick.
Yeah, because you have guys like... Because the way that... With Justin Gaethje, he has a fast pace, but so does Charles Oliveira. And you saw whenever Justin fought Khabib, there was this kind of thing where Khabib saw his pace and then was like, okay, that's your pace, I'm going to go 10 above that. And then after that, that's when Justin couldn't keep up with the pace. And I think with Charles' style, I mean, I think he's going to be able to stand in there with Justin, but Justin hits fucking hard. And when he saw...
that's what I was going to say. And Justin doesn't get knocked out very easy.
No, he doesn't. But I think if he's able to get... I think Charles Oliveira can definitely submit him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think he did.
Justin's a former wrestler, but... And I'm usually in favor of the wrestler versus in a fight against a jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah. But with these two, Oliveira would take that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the shots we saw Oliveira the first shot we saw him get hurt with that wobbled him was a left hook, and that's Justin Gaethje's bread and butter. Yeah. That left hook is crazy, but I think Charles Oliveira is able to pressure him enough to be like, okay, I'm in close enough. Let me go for a submission.
Yeah. And one of the things Justin Gaethje likes to do is left hook and high kicks. Yeah. So if you're in his face, he can't do that high kick. Yeah. So his best shot is going to be that left hook, and he can't set it up if you're in his face. So that's very true.
So I mean, it's just something to think about too with that. And then Beneil Dariush, I mean, he's looked really good. I don't know how he's going to be with the top three guys though. I mean, look, if he fights, let's say they give him the winner of Dustin versus Conor 3, how's he going to hang in there with that? He's been knocked out before. He's been knocked out pretty bad, too. And so,
that's one, I think,
not questioning his durability. I know he can take a shot, but, I don't think Dariush beats somebody like Dustin Poirier.
That's what I think. What they should do is put Oliveira on a shelf for just a second.
Yeah.
Let Poirier and McGregor fight. If Poirier wins, give him that shot. If McGregor fights, have him fight. Or I mean, if McGregor wins, have him fight Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
And have Gaethje fight Dariush for a title shot.
If Conor loses, I don't see him fighting Dariush. I don't think he's gonna want to fight Dariush. Yeah, I can see him fighting Chandler. I can see him fighting.
Him fighting Chandler makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because again, Conor doesn't fight often.
Yeah.
And he's lost several times now. So have him fight Chandler because that's a big deal for Chandler. But if Conor can go in there and beat Chandler, he says, hey, this guy's not the guy. I'm the guy, remember?
Yeah.
So that matchup makes sense. Gaethje and Dariush makes sense. But if Dustin Poirier wins, give Poirier to Oliveira, and then have Dariush fight Gaethje, and then figure out what you want to do with Conor from there.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of how it's gonna play out to be, like you said.
Conor's calling out Kamaru. Maybe tell him like, all right, clearly lightweight ain't it. You want to move it to a welterweight? You want to try to fight Kamaru Usman?
I think it's a terrible fight for him.
I do too, but I mean he's calling for it. So
yeah. Hey man, if that's what he wants, what's it called? I think that's not a good fight for him at all, though. That's just me. But I mean, with that fight though, I mean it's kind of weird. I would like to see Dan Hooker fight Tony Ferguson, and then you can kind of work things out with, like you just said, the fights you just said. You have Gaethje versus Dariush, and then if there's the winner of like
if Poirier wins,
Poirier versus Oliveira, you have Poirier versus Oliveira, McGregor versus Chandler, Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush, and you have Ferguson fight Dan Hooker.
I think that is a great.
Yeah, that plays out the top 6. But the thing is, though, is Dan Hooker's ranked number 7 right now, and then you have Rafael Dos Anjos, who's at number 6.
I feel like Dos Anjos hasn't been active. He fought Paul Felder, and that was a short notice fight.
Yeah.
Felder lost, but I don't know. I feel like Dos Anjos is just kind of there. Kind of similar with Iaquinta. He's just kind of there.
Like, who's he gonna fight? He's gonna fight Ferguson again, and Ferguson beat up on him.
Yeah, it just they kind of sit in some weird spots, I think. So if Dos Anjos wants to keep making a name for himself and keep on pushing that he belongs in the title picture, or at least top 5, then maybe he should call for Michael Chandler.
Yeah,
I think that would make sense.
And too. I know that.
Oh no, you know what? Screw that.
Yeah.
If Conor beats Poirier, have him fight Dos Anjos.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to fight before, and I was pretty excited for that one.
And that's what Dos Anjos was saying. He was like, well, since he's lost, I mean, it makes sense for us to fight each other now.
Yeah. So I say set that one up.
Which is crazy because I think the Dos Anjos we have now gives him a much better fight than we would have expected. I think the Dos Anjos that would be fighting Conor now, I think Conor would struggle with him a lot.
But I know if Conor beats Dos Anjos, people are gonna be like, okay, you beat a guy who's not even top 5. Why do you get title shot now? Yeah. But it's just hard to deny Conor McGregor if he puts 2 wins together over top 10 guys.
Yeah.
Because he's Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I don't like that, but I do get it. If he beats Dustin, and then I don't think it would make sense to match him up with Dos Anjos. If he loses, match him up with Dos Anjos. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be a good fight.
Or Chandler, but I think both of those would be cool. And that keeps Dos Anjos' stock rising.
Yeah, because Dos Anjos probably has one more run to the title, and that's it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Maybe, I mean, he has to win his next couple for sure before that. But, I mean, if Dos Anjos if he loses his next fight, it's like, okay, you can keep fighting. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but we got to figure out what's going to be next for you, because you're not going to be fighting for the title anytime soon.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and call this one. It's good to talk about rankings, though, because I feel like the rankings are kind of weird. So it's good to get to talk about them. Let us know what y'all think as far as what matchups could be cool or what matchups make sense, where the rankings should be. Let us know what y'all think. And remember that we are now on iTunes, Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts.
Yep.
So we still got YouTube. So you know where to check us out.
Yep. And there's something that y'all hear on the podcast. If you're listening on a different platform that doesn't allow comments, just go to our YouTube channel and comment let us know how you feel.
Or go to our Instagram, Devin the Bear.
Yeah.
Just check us out there. We're always willing to hear everybody out and see what they want to say. So just let us know. We'll catch y'all next time.